Okay, bruh. The fat electrical engineers has been telling me in the comments, Nolo, you're learning all this marine stuff. You gotta react to the most gangster marine of all time, Dan Daly. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Is it Daly? Is it Daly? Is it Delay? I think it's Daly though. Dan Daly. Y'all been on my ass about it. So here we are. I said I'm going to get to it today. I'm ready. Y'all know I rock with the Marines heavy. I'm rocking with y'all. So if y'all watching, I'm rocking with y'all. I salute you guys. It's insane the way y'all brains are wired. All right? And it's interesting. And it's something to learn. So here we are, most gangster Marine of all time, Dan Daly. I'm going to run with Daly.
All right, go ahead and make your prediction now. Who would win in a fight? 200 Kung Fu practitioners with melee weapons or one Marine with a machine gun?
One Marine with a machine gun. Because like the quote goes, I forget who said it. Damn, I be forgetting y'all. There's nothing more dangerous than a Marine and his rifle. So I'm going to take the Marine and his rifle based on the stories I've learned and the photos and videos I've seen so far.
Kung Fu practitioners with melee weapons or one Marine with a machine gun? Today we're talking about the most gangster Marine ever. A man so remarkable that General Lejeune himself would declare him to be the most outstanding Marine of all time. A man that was so
Who is General Lejeune? Let me know who General Lejeune is. I want to know who these guys are.
General Lejeune himself would declare him to be the most outstanding Marine of all time. A man that was so fierce on the battlefield that General Smedley D. Butler, one of only 2 Marines to ever receive the Medal of Honor twice, would declare him to be the fightingest Marine he ever knew. Ladies and gentlemen, the only...
I feel like I'll learn this later, but I'm going to just ask you guys, when they say Medal of Honor, like I watch movies, like I say, I've seen movies. I know when they giving out these awards and I know they mean something, but what exactly do you have to go through to get the Medal of Honor? Like what exactly makes the military say, oh, that's Medal of Honor worthy? What's the task? What did you carry out? What did you do for people to say he deserves it? Let me know that.
Twice would declare him to be the fightingest Marine he ever knew. Ladies and gentlemen, the only other Marine to receive the Medal of Honor twice, Sergeant Major Dan Daly. Born in New York on November 11th, 1873, Dan Daly would grow up competing as an amateur boxer as well as working as a paperboy. And while working as a paperboy might seem like the useless details you throw in at the beginning to humanize the main character, in this case, it's anything but, because him working as a paperboy would create a butterfly effect through time that would change the US military as a whole. You see, you gotta remember that this is the late 1800s and information and news didn't spread the same way it does today, so working as a paperboy back then meant that he always got the newspaper, meaning that he had more information at his fingertips than 99% of the population. Because of this, he would be able to closely follow the exploits of future President Theodore Roosevelt and his famous Rough Riders all throughout the Spanish-American War. And this would go on to be his inspiration to join the US Marine Corps, hoping that he too would be able to fight in the Spanish-American War. So that's exactly what he would do on January 10th, 1899, when Dan Daly would enlist in the United States Marine Corps at the age of 16 years old, coming in at only 5'6" and 100.
I know how I feel about them youngins. Like, there wasn't nothing. 1800s. I gotta remember what he's saying. The times, everything wasn't like right now. There's so many other cool things you can do as a 16-year-old. But it's crazy to think that back then, 16-year-olds were driven and motivated by country pride, their pride for their country, and the want to go to war, bruh. That's crazy that was appealing to teens back then. Like that, I want, like, what you want to do? But I'm trying to go to war. You know how cool that shit is? Man, I'm trying to go over there and blow up and do all kind of stuff to people. Bro, that's just I don't know. That's just so crazy to me.
Spanish-American War. So that's exactly what he would do on January 10th, 1899, when Dan Daly would enlist in the United States Marine Corps at the age of 16 years old, coming in at only 5'6" and 135 pounds. But hey, as the old adage goes, it's not about the size of the dog in the fight, it's about the size of the fight in the dog. Okay. You see, the real problem here wasn't his stature, but the fact that he joined to fight in the Spanish-American War, and the Spanish-American War ended on December 10th, 1898, exactly 1 month prior to his enlistment date, but the news hadn't spread that far yet, so he ships off to training anyways. So fast forward, he finishes up training, realizing the Spanish-American War's over. He's kind of like, meh, I mean, the Spanish got off lucky, can't help it. I mean, let's face it, I'm gonna get the action I'm looking for at some point, right? This is America. We've been a country for like 124-ish years at this point.
And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, my boy had a dream. He went to fulfill his dream. The dream was shattered. And instead of dreaming something else, my boy said, nah, I'm going to just replace this part of my dream where I wanted to fight in the Spanish War to I'm going to just leave it blank. I'm going to leave that space blank and insert any war here. The dream is still alive, bucko. Because now I'm going to let you put any war in this space where it used to say Spanish War in my dream. At 16 years old, bro. It's crazy, man.
So fast forward, he finishes up training, realizing the Spanish-American War's over. He's kind of like, meh, I mean, the Spanish got off lucky, can't help it. I mean, let's face it, I'm going to get the action I'm looking for at some point, right? This is America. We've been a country for like 124-ish years at this point. We've been not in armed conflict for all of like 45 seconds at this point. Surely something's gonna pop up soon. So he ends up getting put on ship duty over in the Asiatic fleet on the USS Newark. And sure enough, like after a month of being there, the Boxer Rebellion breaks out, and guess whose ship is the closest one to be able to respond? Dan Daly. All right, real quick, oversimplified explanation of what the Boxer Rebellion is in case you have absolutely no idea. At this point in time, China had really just been opened up to the rest of the world, and foreign influence is just flooding in. You have Western businesses going in there trying to make money. You've got Western governments going in there being like, hey, you guys want some democracy? And then you had missionaries going in there also trying to spread Christianity. And all of this influence came so fast, so quick, that a large portion of the Chinese population felt that it was too much, too soon, and they started to push back and started a nationalist movement. Part of this nationalist movement was a bunch of young men that practiced Kung Fu. Now, to somebody from the West, Kung Fu looks an awful lot like shadow boxing, so they just referred to these young men as boxers, hence the term Boxer Rebellion. These boxers got together, started their own little club called the Society of the Righteous and Harmonious Fist, and then proceeded to run around beating the shit.
Bro, them motherfuckers look scary.
Called the Society of the Righteous and Harmonious.
Yeah, I'm not fucking with them. They got swords. They got is that a rifle with a bayonet at the end, or is that a two-sided blade stick? I don't know, but they look scary. I'm not fucking with them.
Harmonious Fist, and then proceeded to run around beating the shit out of and or killing every foreign diplomat, businessman, and missionary they could find. And it is at that point that the Marines get sent in. So Private Daly and the rest of the Marines show up to Peking, China, which would later go on to become known as Beijing, the capital of China, at which point they promptly and immediately take over a large legation center on the southern border wall of the city, known as the Tartar Wall. They then gather up all the refugees they can find, get them inside the legation center, and set up a defensive perimeter. Things are going well, now we're just waiting for reinforcements. Problem, hours and hours go by, the reinforcements don't show up, and it's about to be dark out. So at this point, the Marine leadership's thinking like, hey, the reinforcements are definitely on the way, they wouldn't just leave us here, which means the reinforcements have gotten lost because, I mean, let's face it, if there was ever a time or a place where the directions of go to the giant building on the big fucking wall wasn't specific enough, it would be in China, right? I mean, they're known for their big ass walls. It's kind of their thing. Right. So they're lost out there. We need to go find them before nighttime. Otherwise, they're going to get ambushed by like 1,000 of these Kung Fu guys and they're all going to get killed. So we're all going to leave, go find the reinforcements and come back Private Daly, you're going to stand guard here by yourself. Now, I don't know what the logic was behind this. I don't know if it was like, fuck Private Daly, he's the new guy, he can have the shitty job, or if it was like, hey, Private Daly's a new guy, this mission's really dangerous, let's leave him here where it's safe. Or maybe they knew he was the main character and that he had plot armor. I have no idea. Either way, Private Daly is now effectively playing goalie for America for all of these refugees. So sure enough, like an hour after all the other Marines leave, hundreds of Boxer rebels show up and they're looking for a fight. Now, a couple of them have guns like muskets and stuff, really outdated weaponry. By and large, they're all carrying traditional Chinese martial arts weapons like swords, bow staffs, what have you. Some of them are even just rocking the old meat mittens, but they're looking for a fight either way. And this is shaping up to be one of the most ridiculous battles of all time. I mean, this is the type of stuff you get drunk at the bar and ask your buddy, like, hey, you think you could take on all 300 Spartans if you had a machine gun? Like, that's exactly what's about to go on here. I mean, in one corner, you've got an 18-year-old Marine with a machine gun, and in the other corner, you have 200 martial artists with, like, bows.
Okay, just keeping the timeline going. So it took my boy 2 years to start the process of actually living out his dreams and desires of going to war for his country, fighting for his fellow man. All right. So 2 years passed. He 18 now. He got 300 Spartans coming at him, and I take it he got a pistol on him.
Old Marine with a machine gun, and in the other corner you have 200 martial artists with like bow staffs and shit. You literally have gun fu versus kung fu, okay? And here's the kicker with the entire thing. The Society of the Righteous and Harmonious Fist legitimately and wholeheartedly believes that their martial arts training has made them impervious to bullets. Yeah. So this entire horde of kung
Really, Nick? Indiana Jones. How? What made you say, when I say this, I need Harrison Ford to show on the screen? Huh? Huh, Nick? Or Nick's editor? Good minds. Good minds.
Made them impervious to bullets. Yeah. So this entire horde of kung fu fighters just starts running at Daly as fast as they can as he opens fire with his machine gun, and they fight well into the night. The rest of the Marines were a couple miles away. They found the reinforcements, but now it's too dark for them to travel in this rioting city at night safely, so they've adopted a little defensive position, and they're just holding position until daylight. They're literally forced to just sit there and listen to the machine gun fire and the yelling and the screaming and machine gun fire, and then suddenly the machine gun runs out of ammo, and then there's bolt action rifle fire, fire. He gets the machine gun reloaded. There's more machine gun fire, and this goes on for hours, and then it progressively just gets slower, and there's less machine gun fire.
Wait, so you're like all jokes aside, it's literally just him out there, right? So you're telling me he got his machine gun loaded, which I'm pretty sure it had the belt, and he's running through the little the container that they have, and he's running through it, right? He's chopping down, he mowing down people, right? There comes a point where it stops, where the bullets run out. So he grab his other work, he start popping off his other work. So in order for him, if it's just him alone, in order for him to grab another case of ammo for the machine gun, that means that when he was popping off his regular rounds, the opposing side had to just stop and say, okay, this not working. We got to strategize. And in that moment, in that little window, he was able to load that machine gun up and keep going. Is that what happened? Like, he was down in so many of them that they had to stop and was like, we can't keep doing this shit. There's only like 46 of us left. Like, we can't keep doing this, dog. And then he was like, oh shit, they ain't coming. And went right back at him. Is that what happened, y'all? That's the only thing I see happening.
Action rifle fire, bolt action rifle fire. He gets the machine gun reloaded. There's more machine gun fire, and this goes on for hours, and then it progressively just gets slower, and there's less machine gun fire and less screaming and less machine gun fire and less screaming, and then suddenly it just stops. At this point, the Marines have to accept the fact that their friend has just died courageously in battle, fighting an entire mob by himself because they left him alone, and all the civilians that they've been tasked with protecting are going to be slaughtered. And now all they can do is sit there and wait for the sun to come up. So the sun comes up.
Bruh, my boy was 18 years old doing this. 18 years old, just mowed down 200 real ninjas. What the fuck are y'all telling me, bruh? When I was just giving the explanation of reloading the gun and how it completely skipped my mind, whatever the saying is, that he was 18 years old. But this I don't know if it's amazing. I don't know if it's incredible. I know it's what the fuck what are you telling? So you telling me if he would have went home at the age of 20 and people say, well, what you do over there? He said, well, shit, I took down 200 motherfuckers all at once by myself, just me. Yeah, y'all are right. Reality is stranger than fiction. Y'all keep telling me that in the comments because I always say, oh, this is some real life movie shit. No, the movie is some real life shit. I had it backwards. It never crossed my mind that the boy was 18. Jesus.
Are going to be slaughtered. And now all they can do is sit there and wait for the sun to come up. So the sun comes up and the Marines start making their way back to the legation center, but they're kind of dragging their feet because, well, they know what they're going to find. They're really just there to recover the remains of Private Daly and make sure that those are taken care of. And they start making their way there. And as they get closer, they're like, man, Private Daly really took out a lot of these guys. That's impressive. And they get closer and like, holy shit, he took out a ton of these guys. This is the most aerodynamic mass grave I've ever seen. And they get to the top of the wall and there's Private Daly smoking his pipe, leaning up against his machine gun. And they're like, holy shit, you made it. He's like, yeah, why wouldn't I? Well, we heard the machine gun stop firing and we just assumed that you'd been killed. He's like, no. I only quit firing because they quit coming.
Okay, there's a little context there. If I'm not mistaken, if he's on the wall, that means he potentially had the high ground. And we all know I now know the high ground is the best position to have in battle. So if he has the high ground and these motherfuckers just firing muskets that you got to reload every time you bust a shot, and all they got is knives and weaponry and this imaginary plot armor that they think learning Kung Fu has given them, then the reload may not have been that hard. So maybe he had to switch to the rifle because some were getting a little too close. And let me just pop these off. And then when they fall back a little bit, because I know they getting scared, I'll reload real quick. Okay, so that's kind of where I'm at now with it. Let me know if my breakdown's right. Y'all know I like trying to break down shit.
That you'd been killed. He's like, no. I only quit firing because they quit coming. Dan Daly has effectively pulled off the impossible. He has single-handedly defeated 200 rebels by himself, saving all of the civilians as well as saving the day. All the Marines are like, holy shit, we're going to nominate this guy for the Medal of Honor because this is incredible. All the businessmen and the delegates are like, oh.
Wait. Okay, so Medal of Honor just means you did some incredible shit that no one ever thought was ever going to happen, and you did it. You actually created a something that everybody thought couldn't ever happen. This man created he created the thought. Bruh, it's one thing to invent something, right? It's one thing to invent a shoe or a piece of machinery, the microphone, a fucking radio, a fucking chapstick. Like, it's one thing to invent a tangible item, but to invent and create a thought is some other Professor Xavier shit. My boy created the thought that a single man can wipe out 200 actual trained ninjas and everything would be fine. He invented that thought. I don't know if bruh, to create a thought that's because these men literally was like, oh yeah, he gone. Because that thought never existed, bruh. They just automatically knew he was gone until they got there. And in that exact moment, he created a thought for them and for the world. Bruh, that's different. Am I tripping? I know I'm not tripping, bruh. This motherfucker invented a fucking thought, bruh. I know I ain't tripping. I know I'm not tripping.
Pulled off the impossible. He has single-handedly defeated 200 rebels by himself, saving all of the civilians as well as saving the day. All the Marines are like, holy shit, we're gonna nominate this guy for the Medal of Honor because this is incredible. All the businessmen and the delegates are like, oh my god, we've seen what one Marine can do, and now we've got 1,200 Marines. We're definitely gonna make it out of this alive. Hooray. And all the missionaries are like, oh my god, this is not what we meant when we said we wanted to make these people more holy. Shortly after this, Dan Daly would be awarded his first Medal of Honor for the battle, and then he would go on to continue serving in the Marine Corps as if nothing had happened. Okay, fast forward 15 years, now Gunnery Sergeant Daly has been involved in every military conflict the U.S. has for the past 2 decades. He is one of the most experienced combat veterans in the entire U.S. military.
Okay, timeline. Just stay with me, y'all. Joins at 16. Dream is rerouted, detoured. He leaves the blank space, says insert any battle here. Now my dream is complete. At 18, that happens. At 18 years old, he mows down 200 ninjas. His fellow men are like, oh, he's gone, let's go. He then invents a thought. He creates the actual thought that one person can actually do this by himself. It's possible at that time. He creates the thought. He's rewarded the Medal of Honor for creating the thought and executing the thought. And now Nick fast forwards 2 decades later. That's where we're at right now.
As for the past 2 decades, he is one of the most experienced combat veterans in the entire U.S. military, and he is a living...
So he's 38. He's in the 37, 38 range right now, is what I'm getting, before he goes into what he's about to say.
He is one of the most experienced combat veterans in the entire U.S. military, and he is a living legend in the Marine Corps. And on October 24th of 1915, Gunnery Sergeant Daly would find himself leading a platoon of men through Haiti during the Cocos Rebellion. Just after his entire company would cross a river, his entire company would be attacked on all 3 sides by over 400 Cocos rebels, forcing them to retreat back into the river. And while doing so, the horse carrying the crew-served machine gun would be shot and sink to the bottom of the river, as the remaining Marines continued to cross the river before adopting a defensive position to repel the attack until nightfall. It is now pitch black outside, and Gunnery Sergeant Daly knows as soon as the sun comes up, they are going to get attacked again, and the only chance they have is to get that machine gun back from the bottom of the river. So he takes off by himself in the dark of night, goes all the way back to the river, and just begins diving to the bottom of the river, trying to find this dead horse with the machine gun strapped to it. And after hours of trying, he finally finds this horse, manages to go down, untie the machine gun, come back up for air, go back down again, getting pieces, ammunition, the gun itself, the tripod. He gathers up all of this stuff, gets...
Wait, let me let him finish. Hold that thought.
It out of the river and then straps it to his back and carries it back to his men. Bear in mind,
I'm going to let him finish because I feel like he about to say something I want to hear.
That is over 200 pounds of equipment, and this guy is 5'6", 135 pounds, but he gets it done anyways.
So this what the fuck y'all telling me. Take everything I just said, and remember I stopped at the 2 decades. So 2 decades is 20 years. It's 20 years. He's 18 when he mows down, and then Nick says for the next 2 decades, meaning after 18. Now, if you include the 18, then the 2 decades are already up, basically. So he has to mean after the 18. So he's 38 years old. He goes on a solo mission to take multiple dives into a river to find a dead horse with a machine gun strapped to it. He finds it. He unstraps parts of it. He brings up pieces of the gun. Total weight being 200 pounds for the gun. Puts it on his back at the age of 38 and walks by himself, totes 200 pounds all the way back to his position. And y'all want me to applaud. Y'all might not like me for this one. LaFlop James for slam dunking at 40. When shit like this actually we got a motherfucker that created an actual thought. And at the age of 38, my boy is diving to the bottom of rivers to detach 200-pound weaponry and tote that shit back to the troops and saying, hey, our only hope that we had, I got it. I got y'all. That shit is like magic. And y'all want me to applaud a motherfucker dunking? What the hell has become of us? What do we champion now? Because how did I not learn about this in school? This is some of the most, I feel like, oh my God, so many things are going through my goddamn head. I feel like if we were taught this rap music, yeah, I know I'm a hip hop guy. Rap music could have potentially been better if we were making these type of comparisons in the lyrics. Shouts out to LeBron. No, I got a shit ton of his shoes. I do rock with you, but I'm just, you wake up, you jump on the gram, and all they talking about is damn somebody at 40 hitting 2 free throws at 40. And I'm just like, but this was happening at 40. Like, with less resources. Like, what are we talking about? All right, my rants, I'm done with that rant. Moving on. Just, this is unbelievable. Y'all warned me, y'all told me, but this shit, when it clicks, bro. When I'm like, oh, this what y'all motherfuckers are talking about. Insane, bro. Insane, impressive, and whatever other NIINIMEM words that go along with this. Emphasize, indestructible, incompetent, because who the fuck thinks that you can do this? Bruh. And then go do it.
Equipment, and this guy is 5'6", 135 pounds, but he gets it done anyways. Now, Marines believe in a couple things when it comes to a gunfight. Number 1, bring a gun. Number 2, bring friends with guns. Number 3, decide to be aggressive enough, quickly enough. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you that he is not about to use this machine gun for self-defense. He's about to use this machine gun for self-offense. First thing in the morning, he gets his men together. They launch an attack first, scattering the enemy into the jungle, retreating, and Daly has effectively saved himself and all of his men, earning himself his second Medal of Honor. Fast forward 2 years, June 1st, 1917, into the jungle, gets his men together. He's about to use this machine gun for self-offense. First thing in the morning, he gets his men together. They launch an attack first, scattering the enemy into the jungle, retreating, and Daly has effectively saved himself and all of his men, earning himself his second Medal of Honor.
With a single machine gun? Is this what, like, That machine gun was that vital back then, y'all. My boy earned his second Medal of Honor for doing some shit that movie writers, scripters couldn't even. They just said, yeah, we can't write that. Because nobody knows. They weren't taught this story in school, so they weren't programmed to know who this man is. So if we write his true story, they're just going to say we're terrible at writing movies because look at this absurd shit we're writing. That's what they think the American people would think. So yeah, we can't write this movie because we're going to look terrible. It's going to make us look insane. Bruh. This is incredible. This is an incredible story.
Daly has effectively saved himself and all of his men, earning himself his second Medal of Honor. Fast forward 2 years, June 1st, 1917, it's World War I, and Daly is now a first sergeant leading an entire platoon of young, inexperienced Marines into the Battle of Belleau Wood. If you don't know the Battle of Belleau Wood, the Germans are just rampaging through France, making a beeline right towards Paris. And at Belleau Wood, the US Army, the Marine Corps, the French Army, and the British Army all get together to stop the German military in their tracks. Now, this made it not only a strategic battlefield, but a symbolic battlefield, because how dare you stop the mighty German military? Now they're going to hit back twice as hard just to prove that it was a fluke. Because of this, right after they stopped the German military on June 1st, the French military is like, okay, we stopped them, let's take the W and head back to Paris and we'll fight from there. We don't want to get slaughtered in this wood line by the Germans because they're pissed. And it is at this point that the Marine leadership famously responded by saying, and I quote, "Retreat. Hell, we just got here." And then the Marine Corps pretty much dons their gas masks, fixes bayonets, and proceeds to fight their ass off for the next 26 days straight. Okay, here's what I need you to understand. On paper, the Marine Corps should absolutely not win this fight. They are both outnumbered and outclassed. The German military is one of the most veteran fighting militaries on the planet at this point in time, and the Marine Corps is primarily comprised of a bunch of 18-year-old kids that have never seen combat. However, leading those 18-year-old kids is a bunch of fucking badasses like Dan Daly. Okay, this video started with him being a paperboy.
Look at that man, bro.
Is a bunch of fucking badasses like Dan Daly.
Look at this man, bro. I think the term is stoic. Correct me if I'm wrong. But look at this. This motherfucker look like he don't play no good in goddamn games. He don't care your race. He don't care your status in society. He doesn't care about anything. If he sees that you have the drive and the will to fight, you can come rock with me. If you do not, get the fuck away from me, pussy boy. He looked like he would look a grown man in his eyes, a very successful, powerful man, and say, boy, you a pussy. Give a fuck about nothing you talking about, boy. You a hoe. He looks like he would tell a man that to his face. A man who thinks he's running the show, barking orders. Hey, little hoe ass boy, shut up. You don't run this, I run this. That's what this picture is telling me. That's what it's telling me.
Okay, this video started with him being a paperboy from New York. He is now a 45-year-old man with 2 Medals of Honor that has been in the Marine Corps since he was 16 years old. This man is a grizzled veteran that has been there, done that, and has a t-shirt, and he is about to don his plot armor and fuck shit up. So the Battle of Belleau Wood kicks off on June 1st. Pretty much immediately, First Sergeant Daly's lieutenant gets shot, and he is now out of the fight, okay? Okay, if you don't know what that means, the officer is the one guy on the battlefield that sorta kinda pretends like he gives a fuck, and he is now gone. The regulator is off the war machine, and First Sergeant Dan Daly is now in charge of his entire company, unopposed. Fast forward, June 5th, German artillery strikes the ammunition depot, lighting everything on fire. Dan Daly leads his entire platoon in, sets the fire out, prevents all the ammunition from exploding, saves the entire battle. Fast forward 5 days, June 10th, the German machine gun squad would try to advance on Daly's company. Daly would get up by himself with nothing but 3 frag grenades and his Colt 1911, using the 3 grenades to disable the machine gun before approaching, shooting their commanding officer, killing him, and taking the other 14 Germans as prisoners of war. Fast forward a couple of hours, still June.
What the fuck do you mean fast forward, Nick? What do you mean fast forward, bro? There's more? What do you mean fast fast forward. Wait a minute. This shit is crazy. This man 45 years old. We talking about MJ number. This man is MJ jersey and is still doing these things. And he only got 2 Medal of Honors? You're telling me there's not a third one following what Nick just said? I feel like would have got him another Medal of Honor.
Forward 5 days, June 10th, the German machine gun squad would try to advance on Daly's company. Daly would get up by himself with nothing but 3 frag grenades and his Colt 1911, using the 3 grenades to disable the machine gun before approaching, shooting their commanding officer, killing him, and taking the other 14 Germans as prisoners of war.
That ain't Medal of Honor? It sound like it to me, bruh.
Fast forward a couple of hours, still June 10th, Dan Daly looks around at the faces of the young men that he's leading through this battle, and they're looking tired. They're looking like this is the worst time of their life, and it is at this point that Dan Daly decides that he needs to get aggressive enough quickly enough. This battle's effectively been a stalemate for the last 10 days, and he's had enough of this bullshit, so he gets up, walks right out into the open.
Okay, so I'm thinking, I'm moving too fast. I'm thinking that when he did all of that, like, it ended that part of the battle, and then that's why. But from what I'm learning from the Medal of Honors that he won, that he was awarded, what the act that he actually carried out ended that, I'm gonna just call them mini battles, ended that mini battle, which then is like, okay, that's the official. Since he deaded that situation, now we award him. So this situation is still going on. In my head, I'm thinking when he took out the commanding officer and he disabled their weaponry and he took the 14 POWs, prisoners of war. Come on now, I'm learning things now. POWs, that was the end of that battle, but apparently it wasn't. Apparently it was a stalemate and they were still actively in battle. Okay.
Open in this wheat field that's functioning as to get aggressive enough quickly enough. This battle's effectively been a stalemate for the last 10 days, and he's had enough of this bullshit, so he gets up, walks right out into the open in this wheat field that's functioning as no man's land between the Marines and the Germans. He looks at the Germans' line, turns around, looks at his Marines, and yells, "Come on, you sons of bitches, do you want to live forever?" before charging at the German line. All of it.
And that's where the quote come from that y'all telling me. Okay. Imagine low morale in your squad, and to hype them up is to tell them, let's go become fucking legends. This, you know, you watch one you watch one video of someone like Cassius Clay, and you think it can't, stories can't get any better, or there aren't any stories equally as impressive as that. And then, oh no, there's plenty more, Nolo. Oh, don't worry, Nolo. Trust me, bro. You're in for this is a crazy rabbit hole. I'm like, how does it get crazier than that? How does it get crazier than that? This right here, my boy. The other story, what's my boy name? Is it Bullard? Like, the stories just don't stop being either crazier, and when I say crazy, let me say impressive. They either get more impressive or equally impressive. And this story right here, I'm not even going to put it over any of the other guys. I'm not going to put it over the Black Shadow Dev. I'm not going to put it over Cassius. I'm going to just say that these are equally impressive stories, because all of these people, because those are the only stories that I think I've done about particular Marines or soldiers so far, I believe. it's just incredible, man. I just don't. Each person has done something that blows my mind just as much as the next one did. Shit is crazy, man.
Germans. He looks at the Germans' line, turns around, looks at his Marines, and yells, "Come on, you sons of bitches, do you want to live forever?" before charging at the German line. All of his Marines, that's Dan fucking Daly, were gonna follow him, so they charged too. In an act of pure hyper-aggression, Dan Daly's company would catch the Germans off guard and would actually manage to punch through their line, causing all the other Marines to become hyper-aggressive and attack as well, effectively setting off a chain reaction that would lead to the Marine Corps pushing the Germans all the way out of Bellawood over the course of the next 16 days, where on June 26, American High Command would receive a single telegram, and I quote, "Woods, now Marine Corps entirely," giving America its first win in World War I and the Marine Corps its new moniker. Due to the blatant hyper-aggression of the Marines, the Germans began calling them the Teufelhunden, or the Devil Dogs. And it's
That's the video I did. The Devil Dogs, and y'all told me I had to watch Dan Daly to make it all make sense. And it's all making fucking sense. And you telling me he didn't get a third Medal of Honor for this? Please tell me that by the end of this video, Nick's going to say that he got a third Medal of Honor. Because if you're telling me that this man led the battle to led the United States, I'm not just going to say the United States, but he was with the United States, even though they were on teams with other people, to their first victory in World War I, which is, I believe, is called the Great War, right? And didn't win a Medal of Honor. Just explain to me why that would happen, and I'm going to continue to play the video now, because I might have that all wrong. I might be reading that wrong. He might tell me he's going to get a Medal of Honor, but I don't think he's going to say it. So just explain to me why that wouldn't happen.
It's all because of the actions of first calling them the Teufelhunden, or the Devil Dogs. And it's all because of the actions of First Sergeant Dan Daly. After the Battle of Bellawood, Daly would continue to serve throughout World War I until on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, the Germans would surrender, effectively ending World War I, which is why in America we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, which is also, by sheer coincidence, I'm sure, Dan Daly's birthday. The guy's the main character. I don't know what to tell you. So then, because Dan Daly was...
Okay. Shut up, Nolo. You be jumping the gun because... So now you telling me that instead of getting a third Medal of Honor, an entire holiday, I'm not saying it was given to him. I'm not saying it exists because of him. All I'm saying is somebody was smart enough, and somebody was smart enough to respect that man enough to make Veterans Day his birthday. I'm just going to say it's on purpose. It might not be on purpose. It may be a coincidence. I don't know. But for the sake of my sanity, I'm going to say they said instead of giving him a Medal of Honor, give that motherfucker a holiday. Give that motherfucker a whole holiday. Huh? That's what I'm going to say. I could be wrong. I don't know if that's disrespectful to any branches of military. If it is, I apologize. But bro, let's run with that.
Dan Daly's birthday. The guy's the main character. One, which is why in America we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, which is also, by sheer coincidence, I'm sure, Dan Daly's birthday. The guy's the main character. I don't know what to tell you. So then, because Dan Daly was like the badass at the Battle of Bellawood, he gets put up for yet another Medal of Honor, potentially becoming the first man in American history to pull off the Medal of Honor hat trick, getting the three-peat. Absolutely everybody that was there that day all signs off on it. His men, his chain of command, They do the paperwork, they send it off to DC to get this man his medal. Then the political side is like, no, absolutely not. We don't care if he earned it or not. It's not about getting what you deserve. It's about doing what we think is fair, and we don't think it's fair that he should get 3 medals of honor, so we're just not going to give it to him because we said so. Go fuck yourself. So
you fucking lying to me. It's always the man back on fair land, sitting down, going into his local office and eating his local foods and drinking his local coffees, that gets to say, fuck, he did that. I ain't doing this shit because we just ain't doing the shit. It's too much. Like, y'all praising that man too much. Fuck all that. Y'all praising him too much. That's crazy. Which leads me to think even more that the person who did decide that Veterans Day fall on his birthday did it on purpose. Am I tripping? Am I tripping? Because Nick did say it's his birthday, right? And Nick just told us that the man was up for the 3rd medal, and the government just said no. Like, no, like, because we don't want to. Fuck y'all. Boy, they know how to piss you off, boy. The United States will have people who believe in it so much that they will put their entire lifeline on the line. This man joined at 16. He ain't even started living life yet. So his entire lifeline is military. He put his lifeline on the line, brought you guys victories that I feel no other person could bring you guys, and you cheat him. It's a fucking medal. Y'all telling me that y'all done gave this medal more meaning than what this man has done for the country? The medal, the idea of the medal weighs more than the actual things that this man has carried out to keep this country above water and at the top of the game. This man has done things that makes the United States look like colossal fucking, I don't know the word. I don't even know what word, because I can imagine how people are viewing the United States military when this man is doing the things, is pulling off the things that he's pulling off. They're looking at the United States like, oh, these are the giants. These are the end all be all of war. Don't fuck with if you got these dudes on your side, you straight. And you put the idea of a medal and what it represents over that. That's shameful, bruh. That's shameful. That is shameful, man.
To get 3 medals of honor, so we're just not going to give it to him because we said so. Go fuck yourself. So instead, they go ahead and they give him the Distinguished Service Cross and the Navy Cross, which, if you don't know, both of those are like tied for the 2nd highest military honor, because apparently 2nd plus 2nd equals 1st. I guess. Anyways, so he gets those instead. And then, bear in mind, this is 1919, right after World War I. Like a month later in 1919, the military creates a new law that you're only allowed to earn 1 Medal of Honor. Okay, Dan Daly is so fucking gangster, they literally had to change the rules on how many times you're allowed to achieve the highest honor in the military. After World War I, he would retire as a sergeant major, having turned down becoming a commissioned officer on multiple occasions.
You telling me this man affected the laws of the military? That sounds like a 4th fucking Medal of Honor to me.
Earn 1 Medal of Honor. Okay, Dan Daly is so fucking gangster, they literally had to change the rules on how many times you're allowed to achieve the highest honor in the military. After World War I, he would retire as a sergeant major, having turned down becoming a commissioned officer on multiple occasions, citing that he would rather be an outstanding sergeant than just another officer. He would then go on to work as a bank security guard, where for 17 years he would be the living embodiment of the world's shittiest lottery ticket for anybody dumb enough to try to rob that bank. Could you imagine just being some bank robber trying to get some quick cash and you run into the most gangster Marine of all time?
That's what I'm saying, y'all. My man did all of that from the age 16 to what? I think he's 45, 40, probably 47 at this point, 48. And you telling me he just comes home to regular humans like us and becomes a security guard at a bank? How do you do that? I don't know how that feels, because I don't think I've triumphed at that level. When you triumph at unaliving people, that's a different kind of triumph. It's not a business. It's not like a business win. Like, oh, I started Amazon. Like Bezos started Amazon, right? Right? And it's incredible. It's absolutely amazing what he's done. But it's not quite this. And he comes home with all of that triumph under his belt. And my boy say, I'm going to go be a security guard. I don't think he should have to work at all, but I get it. He's a military man. They like keeping moving. I feel like there should be some type of academy or some type of job placement where he gets to either train, or even tell the history of the battles he's been in. I just feel like there should already be jobs here for these type of humans when they come back from war, man. There should be something there for them to keep their mind sane. Because I can imagine him being a security guard and just saying, I hope today somebody runs in here and try to do some stupid shit. Like, imagine being the security guard that's waking up every morning, like, at the age of 50, like, bruh, I really wish somebody would come in here and do something. Like, I'm like, fingers crossed that fingers crossed I get 5 robberies this week. Fingers crossed. So that I can stop going insane in my brain because I need action.
In some bank robber trying to get some quick cash and you run into the most gangster Marine of all time. Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out there. He didn't retire from being a bank security guard until 1936, and John Dillinger's bank robbing spree was from 1933 to 1934. So for a couple of years there was a significantly greater than 0% chance that the world almost got the ultimate clash of the bank robbing gangster and the most gangster Marine to ever live. And I'm gonna go ahead and write that down in my book as the coolest thing to never actually happen. happen. In conclusion, Mark Twain is frequently accredited with the famous quote, "It's not about the size of the dog in the fight, but the size of the fight in the dog." When in reality, it wasn't Mark Twain that said that first. It was actually Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star Army general and the 34th President of the United States. Somebody that would have known good and well who Sergeant Major Dan Daly was. And I think that maybe, just maybe, he had that 5'6", 135-pound devil dog on his mind when he came up with that quote. Thank you for watching. Best way to support the channel is go buy some merch at thefatelectrician.com. Quack bang out. I cannot believe that my favorite character from Starship Troopers is actually based off Dan Daly, and I had no idea.
Come on, you ape! You want to live forever? I expect the best, and I give the best.
You motherfucker. Nick, you mother... Nick, you motherfucking... I hope they don't make me block that. Y'all, that was absolutely incredibly astonishing. That shit is actually unbelievable. You know, we take these words and we make them and we turn them into everyday use words. Like unbelievable. Like when people say unbelievable, you're not thinking about the definition of unbelievable. You're just saying it because we're programmed to use it as a term that describes something crazy that or just something you like, or something like, oh, that food was unbelievable. Oh, that movie, oh, it was so unbelievable. But in this case, with this story, you have to actually go into what unbelievable means, bruh. It's something that you literally cannot bring yourself to believe actually happened. Yes, I can believe that food was actually made and it tastes that good. Yeah, I can believe that. Yes. I can believe that Steven Spielberg wrote a movie that was this good. I can believe it. I just say it's unbelievable because it adds just a little more zing to the compliment. But what's unbelievable, what is actually something I cannot bring myself to believe, is that there is a man that is 5'6", 135 pounds, that with a single machine gun and a rifle took out 200 ninjas at the age of 18. No matter how many times you tell me that story, my brain is actually trying to unbelieve it. Right? Then further on, 20 years later, he does something that my brain refuses to believe. He dove in the river multiple times to find a dead horse with a 200-pound wop chop on it, bruh. And he disassembled it as much as he could, brought the parts up, put it together, hauled it on his back, and took it back to his homies that he could have said, hey, y'all come with me. But he was like, I don't want to put nobody in danger. Come with me, bro. He didn't say that. He said, I'm going to go by myself. I'll be right back, y'all. And brought that thing back and actually used that 200-pound wop chopper to claim a victory and end the battle. Yeah, that's what my brain right now, as I'm saying that, is trying to unbelieve that. That's what unbelievable is. When your brain is trying to reverse believe something that you want to believe. His story is unbelievable. And it's real. The man invented a fucking thought. Y'all cannot tell me any different. He invented and created a thought that is now permanently out there in the world. It is now not unbelievable that a single man could take on 200 ninjas with one weapon and win. Keep them coming, y'all. Y'all done got the wrong motherfucker on me, because, bro, I just be having think pieces in my head all day. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe I am the age I am now. What this man did before my age now is beyond impressive. It's beyond awardable. It should be praised, man. It should be praised. I feel like somebody would be able to start a military religion and have these different figures that you praise to, because this is that crazy to me, y'all. Yeah, it's that crazy to me. Yeah, it's that crazy to me. I think somebody could start a military goddamn religion and Dan Daly be the figure that you, one of the figures that you say grace to every day before you eat, before chow. Keep them coming, y'all. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Absolutely amazing. Oh my God. I thank y'all for being patient with me, and I thank y'all for teaching me, bruh. I'm out of here.